What is up, everybody? This is Stevie Breach coming to you here, a rainy day in Sacramento, California. Last night, after WWE's Monday Night Raw, WWE Network debuted a new show hosted by Peter Rosenberg, and on the show was Paul Heyman as well as JBL. Since the fact that I was not planning on watching this show, and it actually took a tweet from WWE to have me tune in, because I didn't really know what the show was going to be, and I didn't think that it was going to be must-see television. Once I saw that this show honestly was a show ripped off of PTI or Around the Horn from ESPN, two shows that when I work 9 to 6 are the highlights of my day, when I actually get to watch it on television in the break room at my work. PTI is a show that I always listen to on the way home if I don't have a chance to watch it on my work. I listen to it via podcast on iTunes. You know, I've been a real big supporter of Rosenberg and the Cheap Heat podcast for a long time. I think that it's one of the best fan-based podcasts where, you know, Rosenberg uses his fame to sort of bring in a lot of guests and things like that. But honestly, when it was just Rosenberg, Stat Guy, and Shoemaker, I mean, these are guys that just sat down and chatted about wrestling. It'd be like if we turned the camera on and it was just me, Assault and Battery, and freaking Yaya 88 just having a three-way conversation about wrestling and just put it up. You know, they have some fame, but they don't use it and abuse it. They just are able to bring in some guests to be able to talk to. I don't know if JBL and Paul Heyman are going to be a part of the show. I don't know if it's an act they're going to take on the show each and every week. I don't know if it's going to be each and every week. I don't know if it's going to be a lot like, you know, rivalries or story time, where there's no set time on the WWE Network. Just all of a sudden you're watching Raw and they decide to push it. Hey, there's going to be a new episode on after Raw. And you're like, well, I really wasn't planning on watching wrestling after Raw. I was planning on going to bed. And you have to make that decision if you're going to watch it now or if you're going to take the chance of saying, I'm going to watch it tomorrow on demand. And how many times have you said you're going to watch something tomorrow and then you never end up watching it? That happens to me a lot. I know why they use that thing after Raw. Honestly, I thought that it was a really good sit-down discussion. Like I said, it's a lot like PTI or Around the Horn, just having some talking heads, talking about situations that are happening in wrestling, whether if it's pushing to matches at WrestleMania, whether if Monday Night Raw is too long. I honestly thought this was coming from Rosenberg as being, you know, just like Booker T called him, Mark. You know, the voice of the fans. And a lot of times, the voice of the fans gets choked out in WWE, and they don't let that through. And I thought on the WWE Network, you honestly had a fan's opinion that Monday Night Raw is too long. And honestly, I think that that really is the voice of the fans. I think that's one of the main reasons why ratings are going down. People who don't understand what ratings are, you always try to blame people like me that have cut their cable, and they don't understand that that doesn't go into ratings, because I don't have a cable box. I'm not able to watch USA. Me not watching Raw does not count into the ratings going down. It's the people that still have cable that are choosing other options, whether if that's football or, you know, the NBA's on or whatever else in the world there is to watch on Mondays that's not wrestling. That's what ratings are. I think one of the main reasons why I don't watch wrestling is number one, cable costs too much fucking money. And if I didn't, well, I guess I do have cable. I just don't pay for it. My roommate does. But I mean, and then another thing is, here on the West Coast with Comcast, wrestling really doesn't come on till 8. If we had a West Coast feed and it was on at 5, I honestly probably would record it on the DVR and then fast forward through the things and watch it on Monday night. But since we don't have that, it doesn't come on till 8, doesn't end till after 11, I'm not going to record it on the DVR. I'm just going to probably watch the stuff that they put up on Twitter and on Facebook. They take every match, they take every segment. You don't get the entrances, you don't get the opening to the matches, but they upload everything you need to see. And you can watch Monday Night Raw on Twitter or on Facebook, see everything you need to see, and be done, honestly, most of the time in less than 30 minutes. And they got it for 30 hours each and every week. But I thought that took guts from WWE. I know that when I listened to Cheap Heat after Rosenberg did the the pre-show before one of the pay-per-views last month, that, you know, one of the questions they asked was he prepped on what to say. And he did have a monitor in front of him, you know, with basically cue cards, but they said, say what you want to say. I mean, use this as a guide if you get lost. But if you think Nikki Bella is going to beat Carmella, say Nikki Bella is going to beat Carmella. Tell honestly what the fans' opinion is going to be. And that's what they want. And I think that's awesome what they're doing with Rosenberg. Like I said, if I could tweak the show, I honestly wouldn't have it after Raw each and every week. I would sort of let Raw settle. And I would honestly record this on Tuesdays, and I would record it after SmackDown, live at SmackDown. Use the talent that you can, but I wouldn't put it on the WWE Network until Wednesday. And I honestly think that if this was a half-hour show, and it was put up at, you know, 8 o'clock Eastern, 5 o'clock Pacific on the WWE Network, I think that this would be must-see television on Wednesday. But I just booked it right in the middle of NXT because I wasn't thinking about that. But I think it would, you know, be a thing to really build around on Wednesdays when you have NXT. Think about how when NXT was back-to-back with the Cruiserweight Classic, how the WWE Network became must-see television each and every Wednesday. So you had Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday locked in with Raw, SmackDown, and then the NXT Cruiserweight Classic. But I think that honestly, with this coming right after Monday Night Raw, you don't have enough time to let things settle. And if you can remember back to before the brand split and before SmackDown was on Tuesday, you go back to being a wrestling fan back in the 90s when there was only one show and it was just Monday Night Raw each and every week, and you had, you know, a pay-per-view once a month on a Sunday. Letting things settle at the end of Raw, not knowing what was going to happen and having to wait a whole week, that was the best, because that's when you got to sit down with your friends. You go to work on Tuesday, or you go to school on Tuesday. You talk to your friends about, you know, what the fuck happened at the end of Raw. You know, like, you know, did they really cut off Val Venus's penis? Did Stone Cold Steve Austin really get hit with a truck? You know, is he gonna live? Is he dead? You know, you go through every discussion, and that's what this show, Bring It to the Table, honestly could be. I have a little bit of a fear that JBL and Paul Heyman aren't going to be on the show each and every week. Paul Heyman normally only on Raw when, you know, Brock Lesnar is in the air. And it doesn't really make sense to bring him in when he's not going to be on television delivering a Brock Lesnar promo like he did last night. And I don't really want to see him, you know, tuning in each and every week via satellite. What scares me the most is that this show is going to turn into Rosenberg and the Sam guy for the Sam Wrestling podcast, which honestly, I don't mean to say that where I'm throwing a whole bunch of shade at Sam or knocking him at all. I love the guy. I'm just a Rosenberg guy, and that's just what it comes down to. And I don't want to see this turn into that. I think, honestly, if you have wrestling personalities on there who really are going to openly debate the topics and give their side, you know, if they think Raw is too long, do they want to see John Cena versus Undertaker WrestleMania match? They give honest opinions and not the WWE, you know, stamp of approval sort of things. I think, honestly, this could be a really, really good show that I would go out of my way to watch each and every week, as long as it's dependable. And I know that it's going to be on each and every week, and know that it's not going to be a sporadic one Raw here, the third Raw the next month, and then the second Raw. I need this to be a dependable show that I'm going to watch each and every week, and I promise that I would go out of my way to watch it, because I honestly really was impressed, and I thought that it was a really good show.